Rajesh, the Unnao rape case hearing is set to take place, and in this case, we're given to understand that the CBI has cited the LK Advani case, wherein they say that an MP or an MLA will be deemed as a public servant, and therefore that nullifies the order given by the Delhi High Court in this case.
I think, what will happen is that this is the argument which has been presented by the CBI in the court when they have gone to Supreme Court challenging the verdict which has been given by Delhi High Court in the Unnao rape case, where they have said that technically under the 5C, which is the POCSO Act, which is the act of the POCSO Act, which they said does not attract in the case of Sengar, and that is the reason why they gave him a bail, and also they suspended the sentence which was awarded to him, and they said that since he has already served the lowest minimum sentence possible, if he was not convicted in any other case, he's supposed to set free. Now the CBI has challenged this, and they are saying that the judgment or the decision on which the Delhi High Court has arrived, that Sengar is not a public servant at that point of time. In their plea, the Central Bureau of Investigation have pointed out the Jain Hawala Diary case, in which the Apex Court had held that any member of parliament or member of legislative assembly at the time of the crime being committed, who is an MLA or an MP, this clearly means that he is a public servant. And this is one of the key area. This is one of the perhaps the only issue on which the challenge is there before the Apex Court. They will also want to say that that there are several criminal cases against Sengar, and also the fact that in this particular case, there are several other instances in which Sengar has been has been found accused of killing the girl's father, and also threatening them. So these are the issues on which the CBI is very hopeful that the Supreme Court will put a stay on the order of the Delhi High Court, and the situation will return to the status quo.
Right, Rajesh, but we are given to understand that there were certain procedural lapses which were taken advantage of by Sengar's lawyers. So in regard to that, do we need to take a relook at the POCSO measures? Is there a requirement of that at this moment?
If you look at the para 16 of the 53 pages judgment of Kuldeep Singh Sengar case, one thing is very clear, which is that the court was the lower court, and also which was upheld by the higher court, was very clear that the investigating officer, the IO of the CBI, he has not done its due diligence, or rather has acted in favor of Kuldeep Singh Sengar, and not in favor of, or not carried out the investigation in a proper and just manner. I would ideally the court should have have asked the CBI to either suspend the IO or reprimand the IO in highest possible term, because if the investigation has not been carried out in proper terms, there was a delay in filing charge sheet, there were several procedural lapses on which the High Court, or the Kuldeep Singh Sengar side, were able to exploit. It is there in the order. So it is, if you ask me, it's a bit surprising that the court have not cracked down on the kind of investigation which was first done by Uttar Pradesh police, and then later on by the investigating officer of the CBI.
So then Rajesh, it does seem a classic case of system failing the survivor in this case. She has been running from post to pillar to get justice, but this is what she's presented after years of going through this long struggle.
Oh, absolutely, 200%. I mean, it's a classic case of how, if you are powerful, you can bend the system at your will. And if you are poor, it is almost next to impossible to get justice. And there is no other, there would be no other clear case. I mean, honestly speaking, if you go through the chronology of the case, you would find that even a Bollywood movie would not resort to kind of creativity, when you compare it with the reality which the Unnao rape victim has to suffer. First she has to run from pillar to post to make sure that her voice is heard. That is not heard. Then she goes to the Janta Darbar of the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister, and then she tries to commit self-immolation. It's only after that, her case is registered. But later on, her father is booked on various trumped up charges, and then he was assaulted, and then he was beaten to death in the police custody. Can there be a more shocking example of you being disadvantaged and justice definitely not coming to your rescue? And after that, when she was on her way to Delhi, this is the reason when the case was transferred from Uttar Pradesh to Delhi, and then when she was on her way way to Delhi, a truck hit the car in which she was traveling, and her two aunts died. She was injured grievously, and also, her lawyer suffered injuries. So it's very, very clear of how the might has overtaken the normal process of due process of law, and it was extremely shocking. And that is, one of the big reasons why there was an outrage about the fact that how can the court be oblivious of the kind of threat it had posed, when the court observed that just because someone is facing a security threat doesn't mean that the other person will be behind bars for the rest of the life. Well, the fact of the matter, I think, which escaped the eyes of the Honorable Delhi High Court was the fact that the same individual is also accused of murdering the father of the victim. So I mean, it's convoluted at so many levels that it's difficult from where to start when it comes to justice not being given to the Unnao rape victim. Ishita.
Clearly, Brijesh, sets an example also how the powerful and the people with, big shot, big influence can mend the course of justice according to their own will. But the fact that this is just one case that has come to light, there was massive outrage, and therefore, we are also seeing action in this case. But there are multiple other cases that do not come to light where the powerful do get their way around.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, hundreds of such cases would be there, because, irrespective of what the ministers or the police chiefs or the top police brass would like to impress upon you or tell you that, the police is there with the public. I mean, since we are reporters and we get to encounter several such cases almost on a daily basis, the law is not there for someone who is weak. And this is, I think, when you use the term majesty of the law, the real majesty of the law is when a poor person approaches the court or approaches the police station and he gets to see some semblance of justice being meted out to him. I mean, if you look at this particular case, if the girl concerned did not have a nerves of steel, I mean, any normal person, would have succumbed to the kind of pressure that was put on her. Imagine, you being gang raped and you being raped, and then after that, you have to try to make an attempt to self-immolate yourself just to be heard. And after that, imagine your father being picked up on trumped-up charges, the police is harassing you, the same police which is supposed to protect you, and then your father is picked up, then he's assaulted in the police custody, and then he's beaten to death in police custody. So, I mean, the case is wrong at so many levels, and when you juxtapose these happenings with the observation of the Delhi High Court, where, Delhi High Court had said that just because someone has a fear for his life, her life, doesn't mean that the other person has to stay behind bars for the rest of the life. I mean, I honestly don't know which would be a bigger travesty of justice. We are not accusing, she is not accusing Kuldeep Singh Sengar of threat. There is a threat. Kuldeep Singh Sengar in a different case is serving a life sentence in murder of her father. So, I mean, if the lady concerned has fear for her safety, she has all the legitimate concern in the world when she makes that appeal.
Right. It is not just her fear. She has lived through those experiences where her father was killed, her aunts were killed, and of course the threat continues at her end also. So clearly a classic case of travesty of justice, and therefore all eyes will be on Supreme Court, the kind of messaging we want to send to all the survivors who come out and speak. So, my colleague Sabe is also tracking this story. He continues to be with us. Sabe, what is the situation right now outside the court? Are the protesters also there?
The protesters came, a few of the women came from the Congress party. They tried to carry out a protest in front of the Supreme Court, but they were immediately detained by the Delhi police. Now, since the winter vacation of the courts are going on, this is the vacation bench which will be hearing the case, and the Chief Justice of India himself will be hearing the case. And the entire Supreme Court premises has been completely geared out by the security personnel. The Delhi police is present, the CRPF personnel are present, and the victim and mother have entered the court premises, and very soon the hearing will take place. Meanwhile, the entire Supreme Court area has been completely filled with media personnel, and once the hearing begins, we will see what comes out, because till this day, every single day, there has been protest either by the women activist Yogita Bhayana or from the victim and her mother. They have been continuously protesting in different areas of the national capital.
All right,
they have been leveling serious allegations against the government as well as the CBI for watching up the case.